Mr. President.
Senator from South Carolina.
I just want to echo what my colleague from Washington said. To those who have negotiated this trade package, well done. I'm going to vote for the Portman Amendment because I think currency manipulation should be addressed more forcefully. If trade deals in the future are going to be like trade deals in the past, we need to look at what we're doing because some of the trade deals in the past haven't worked out so well. So on this currency issue, I just want to vote. On the bank, telling my leadership the following. I've talked with you and talked with you and talked with you. I've foregone taking votes on the XM because I didn't want to rock the boat on the budget and other things. I am tired of talking. You're not going to get my vote for cloture or anything else this year until I get a vote, we get a vote on the XM Bank, because there's over 60 votes in this body. To the chairman, who I admire greatly, you mentioned China. Well, let me mention China. China makes wide-body jets. They're getting into the wide-body jet business big time. China makes about everything we make. Boeing makes 787s in South Carolina and Washington. GE makes gas turbines in Greenville, South Carolina, mostly sold through XM financing to the developing world. If you're worried about China stepping in, if we don't have this great trade deal, here's what I'm worried about. That if our bank expires, then the market share that we have today, because we have competitive financing, goes away, and the biggest beneficiary of closing down the bank is China. I'm not going to subject American manufacturers to trying to sell their products overseas without XM financing when all their competitors have an XM bank. As a matter of fact, China's bank is bigger than the United States, France, England, and Germany combined. Airbus, great airplane. France and Germany have an XM bank. So an American manufacturer, when it comes to wide-body aircraft or any other product trying to be sold overseas in the developing world, this bank that makes money for the taxpayer makes them competitive. So all those who really do believe in trade, the fact that you would let the bank expire because some ideological jihad on our side that makes absolutely no sense to me, I'm not going to be part of that anymore. To the people who are trying to make this the scalp for conservatism, I think you've lost your way. This bank makes money for the taxpayer. This bank doesn't lose money. This bank allows American manufacturers who are doing business in the developing world to have a competitive foothold against their competitors in China and throughout Europe who have access to XM financing. All we're talking about is an American-made product sold in the developing world where you can't get traditional financing. The XM Bank has been around for decades. Ronald Reagan was for the XM Bank. The XM Bank is directly responsible for helping sell Boeing aircraft made in South Carolina. 70% of the production in South Carolina is eligible for XM financing. And there are thousands of small businesses who benefit from manufactured products sold in the developing world through XM financing. Would I like to live in a world where there were no XM banks? Sure. But the world I'm not going to live in is where we shut ours down and China keeps theirs open. I'm not doing that. That's not trade, that's just idiotic. That's unilateral surrender. Come to South Carolina and tell the people at Boeing and all their suppliers, and go to Greenville to the GE plant that hires thousands of South Carolinians and all of their small business suppliers, why it's a good idea for America to shut down a bank that makes money for the taxpayer, that allows us to be competitive. How you think that's a good way to grow our economy. Tell those people who have got good jobs in South Carolina who will surely lose market share because we closed our bank down, how proud they should be of your ideological purity. I welcome this debate in South Carolina down the road. But I promise my leadership, friends on the other side, I'm a reasonable guy. I vote for things, give and take. But the one thing I will not do is allow the bank expire without a vote. If you can beat me on the floor, fine. I'm not asking you to vote for the bank. I'm asking you to allow me to vote for the bank because it's critical to the economy of my state and I think the nation as a whole. And the only reason we're having this debate is because some outside groups have made this the conservative cause celeb. in my view, without any rational reason. So to the chairman and to the ranking member, I have no problem helping you move this bill, because you talk about it will make it harder on China to take market share in Asia. The only thing I ask of this body is to allow me and my colleagues who care about the Ex-Im Bank, which is a small piece of the puzzle that has a gigantic impact. It makes over $3 billion, made over $3 billion to the American taxpayer. This bank is essential for American manufacturers to be competitive in the developing world, and I will not let this bank expire without a vote. I will not give market share to China or the Europeans. I will not do that. So I'm willing to work with you, but you got to be willing to work with me. And if you're not willing to honor your word that you've been giving me for the last 6 months, then you got nobody to blame but yourself. So to the senator from Washington, all we're asking for is a vote on the Ex-Im Bank that's been around for decades, that Ronald Reagan said was a good idea, that has overwhelming bipartisan support before June 30th on a vehicle that must become law if we can pass that amendment. Is that correct to the senator from Washington?
Mr. President, the senator from South Carolina is correct. That's all.
To my colleagues who've been raising money off this, you can raise all the money you want to, but you're going to have to debate your ideas against my ideas. You're not going to be able to shut this bank down without a vote. If you feel that good about your position, let's have a vote on the floor of the Senate and the floor of the House. The one thing we're not going to do is let the bank die without a debate and a vote, and that debate and vote must come before June 30th because the damage will have been done. I'm not going to sit on the sidelines and watch jobs in my state be lost because of some ideological crusade, the biggest beneficiary of which, in my view, would be China and our European competitors. If you really do care about China's effect in the world marketplace, shutting the Ex-Im Bank down in America and allowing China to keep theirs open is a death blow to American manufacturers who sell in the developing world. With that, I yield, and I look forward to a positive outcome so you can get your bill passed. You can have votes on amendments that you care about. You can get your bill up and passed if the votes are there, as long as I get a chance, along with the senator from Washington, to vote on what I care about, what I think is essential to the economy, not of just South Carolina, but of the manufacturing community in the developing, who sell in the developing world. And with that, I yield back.